Hello, Tampa. It's Mayor Jane here, and I have our incredible city attorney, Gina Grimes, with me. And we want to talk about a number of issues today, all surrounding COVID-19 and the coronavirus. First and foremost, we want to go back over that focus on those four areas that we are laser focused on here in the city of Tampa. And first, I know you guys have heard it so many times, but we have to say it over and over and over. Washing your hands constantly, making sure that you're disinfecting areas. Very, very important because this coronavirus can be transmitted via touch. We all know that as well. Secondly, and probably the most important, is the distancing, the social distancing, ensuring that we have a physical distance between each other. That seems to be the number one way that other areas have been able to break that cycle of transmission. So that is incredibly important and really will be the overarching view or focus of our presentation today. Next, we're looking at collection and quarantine. As you've all heard, we really don't have the necessary supplies to test at the level that we should, but we are doing the very best that we can with what we have. So trying to get collection samples from those individuals that may be exhibiting the signs and symptoms of COVID-19, and then getting those individuals quarantined again so they can't transmit this virus to others. And then lastly, we want everyone to be safe, remain calm, stay connected, and above all else, be kind. We want kindness to be as contagious or more contagious than this virus is. You know what makes us the greatest city in the nation is the fact that we all come together when there's an issue that needs to be addressed. And this will be no different. But we're going to have to continue to take those steps necessary to stop the transmission of this virus. And to that end, I tried yesterday to get the stay-at-home order passed at the emergency policy group, and that ultimately was voted down. And so I intend to, as mayor of the city of Tampa, and to look out for our citizens and those individuals visiting our city, I intend to pass the stay-at-home order for the city of Tampa. To explain it in its simplicity, Gina Grimes is here to help everybody understand it and understand the overarching point here is to get that social distancing. Gina?
Yes, and as Mayor Castor said, the intent of everything we've been doing over the last 10 days is trying to stop the spread of the coronavirus. And the two things she said that we know are the most effective are sanitizing and social distancing. And that's what a stay-at-home order is. It's a stricter form of social distancing. And a lot of people are asking, well, why do we need to have a stricter form of social distancing? Well, one of the reasons is we're finding that the existing regulations that we have aren't really effective. We asked people not to congregate in large numbers. We saw a lot of people congregating on the beaches. At that point, the beaches were closed. Then the state parks had to be closed because the people from the beaches went to the state parks. So the existing regulations we have aren't effective. People are still finding ways to gather socially. So this is the next step. A stay-at-home order is the next step in a stricter form of social distancing. And we think it's a reasonable proposal. We understand that what we're trying to do is not going to eliminate contact that everyone has with one another. Instead, it's trying to minimize the contact that people have with one another. Mm-hmm. We have asked people to modify their behavior, and we're asking for cooperation. We're telling people a stay-at-home order is not a lockdown. It's not a shutdown. It's not intended to close all businesses. It's none of those things. And there's a lot of rumors going around that that's in fact what it's going to do, and it's not. So what is a stay-at-home order? A stay-at-home order directs or orders people to stay at their homes unless they need to leave to do one of two things. Unless they need to leave to perform necessary activities. What we mean by that is if you have to go to the store, if you have to go to the doctors, if you have to take care of a family member, you're allowed to leave your home under the stay-at-home order to do those kinds of necessary activities. You can also leave your home to conduct physical activity or minor recreational activity, such as walking your dog, going for a bike ride, taking a walk, taking a jog. You can leave your home to do those things. All of those are considered necessary activities, and any travel related to conducting those necessary activities are also allowed under a stay-at-home order. The other reason that you're allowed to leave your home under a stay-at-home order, in addition to conducting those necessary activities, is if you perform a certain essential service. And that has to do with the types of jobs that different people have. If you're a government worker, or you work in healthcare, or you work in the public sector somehow, you will still be able to leave your home to go to work. You'll also be able to leave your home to go to work if you perform a service that we call a support service for necessary activities. If you're a delivery driver, an Uber driver, picking up and delivering food. If you are a caretaker for another person, you'll be able to continue to perform that job. If you're a social worker, you'll be able to continue to perform that job. Those will be various reasons why you will be permitted to leave your home under a stay-at-home order. And then the third category under essential services is if you perform what's called a critical infrastructure or job function. So if you work at a supply store, if you work at the grocery store, if you work at various, like at a doctor's office, you'll be able to leave your home to perform those job functions. And then there's another category that involves 16 different job sectors that the federal government, Department of Homeland Security, has identified as critical to our economy. And those job sectors are listed on a website that's posted on the city's website, so you can see what those different job sectors are. The other thing that Mayor Castor has asked us to consider in drafting a stay-at-home order is whether or not performance of your job, performing your job duties, requires you to be in close proximity to one another. If it doesn't, then you will be able to continue to perform that job. If you work in lawn care, property maintenance, you're not necessarily in close contact with another person. That will be acceptable to leave your home to go to and from work to perform that type of job. An electrician, a plumber, these are all different examples of where you're performing your job doesn't require you to be in close proximity to one another. One of the reasons that the restaurants were shut down was because restaurants and people that gather there, people that work there, they're required to be in close proximity to one another in order to serve food and to eat. So that's the reason, the principle behind why the restaurants were shut down. We think that this is broad enough that it is something that people will be able to adjust to and modify their behavior. It's reasonable, it's balanced. We tried to consider a lot of the different issues that we've heard from different people, wanting to make sure that they were going to be able to leave their homes to perform their jobs. And we think this is a balanced approach to that. Again, the overarching principle is social distancing. So jobs that already have inherently in them the ability for you to be socially distant to another worker in your workplace are going to be acceptable to continue to perform. And we know that there's a lot of questions that are going to be asked about particular situations, and depending on how this stay-at-home order is ultimately adopted, we will post frequently asked questions to help guide people through all the different concerns that they have. We do realize people are scared, they're concerned, they're under a lot of stress right now, and we are working to put together frequently asked questions so that at your fingertips you'll be able to find the answer to your question about the stay-at-home order. And then the last thing I wanted to address was enforcement. I know Mayor Castor understands that these are all drastic measures that we're taking over the last 10 days to address the coronavirus. And with respect to this stay-at-home order, it would be something that would be put into effect and rolled out slowly. We think it's going to take 24 to 48 hours for people to adjust and modify their behavior. So it isn't a situation where there's going to be immediate any law enforcement or anyone going out to try to determine whether people are strictly complying with this order. The intent of this order is to get people to modify their own behavior. So we're asking for everybody's cooperation in this. It's again, modify your behavior to adjust to these different requirements, these different standards and limitations. But if you're ordered by a law enforcement officer, those orders must be followed, and you're going to be expected to comply with the terms of the stay-at-home order. Again, the bottom line is our aim is to protect everybody's health and safety, and to help stop the spread of the coronavirus.
Okay. So basically, the stay-at-home order, we are doing everything that we can to keep the community safe without infringing upon personal freedoms. The overarching goal, to keep people away from each other. And stay at home basically allows individuals to go out and do what they need to do as long as they can maintain that social distance. All grocery stores, pharmacies, gas stations will all be open. And then as far as businesses are concerned, any business that can operate while social distancing is going to be allowable. That makes it so much easier. We know there's a lot of questions, a lot of confusion, and we're trying to simplify this as much as possible with the goal of keeping our community safe. I also understand that this stay-at-home order would be much better enacted by the county. But as mayor of the city of Tampa, I have to do all I can in my power to keep our citizens safe. And it is my hope that the county will follow suit and that they will also pass a stay-at-home order. I think that other municipalities will do so and other counties as well, because we're number 3 in the state right now for positive COVID-19 test results. So we have to take immediate action. We understand the significance of this. We understand the frustration. We understand the economic hardship that it's causing. But what we're asking everyone is to look at the potential of lives that may be lost if we all don't take this personal responsibility to do everything in our power to stop the transmission of COVID-19 and keep our community safe. The imposition of a stay-at-home order does not mean that individuals need to rush out and get whatever supplies are necessary. It's just the opposite. This will allow for personal movement 24 hours a day. You can go out to a pharmacy if you need to at midnight. You can do what you need to do personally and professionally in most cases. So it does not necessitate anyone going out to get supplies when this is put into place. In addition, when the stay-at-home order is put in place, law enforcement understands that this is something that we can use as a community to ensure that everyone is practicing safe social distancing. However, it's going to be that slow roll into it, trying to get individuals to take on that personal responsibility so that we don't have to enforce this. That is critically important. It's everyone's responsibility, and you need to take it very, very seriously. And to address COVID-19, we are focusing on 4 principles here in the city. First and foremost, take those personal hygiene measures, washing your hands, disinfecting the areas that you may touch. Very important. Number 2, critical. social distancing, staying away from each other to stop the transmission. 3 is collection and quarantine. We understand we don't have the necessary supplies to test in the numbers we should be doing, but we're doing all we can to collect samples and get individuals quarantined as soon as possible. And number 4, please stay informed, stay safe, stay connected, and most importantly, stay kind.